So this session, بعنوان Think Business, Sketch Like a Designer, and Code Like a Geek. 3 sentences usually مستحيل نسمعهم in one subject, صح؟ مين هون a student? Majority. Who's already working? طيب مين programmers? Designers? Our lovely designers? Business people? يعني product, marketing, anything. Designer, قد ايه بتحبونا نحن developers? You like us so much, right? Developers, how much do you like our friends, the designers? And our business people. They hate both of us. So let's see. Who am I and what am I doing here? My name is Rayan Al-Zahab. I'm a Google developer expert. You just heard about that program. 2 years back, I got invited to a conference in Casablanca. And they say, we saw your profile. We are interested into inviting you to attend a Women Tech Maker Summit to actually be with Googlers. As you know, I'm from Tripoli. 3 hours driving to the embassy of Morocco to get my visa. I apply my papers, and the guy is like, are you joking with me? You got invited by Google. Who are you to be invited by Google? كب الورقة بوجهي, literally, and he said, you're mocking me. You printed this page of the internet, and you're lying. Go. I'm not approving your visa. I'm not even taking your papers. Why do I tell this story? Is because this is the mentality we face in this region. العالم مش حتصدق إنه نحنا we have connections with Google أو أنا invited by Google لأحكي بconference أو حتى لما يكون عندي فكرة لما يكون عندي مشروع وبدي ابتدي فيه ما حدا حيصدق إنه عن جد حينجح. الكلمات اللي على الأغلب حنسمعها هي فكر حالك مارك زوكربيرج. الكلمات اللي أنا كنت أسمعها شفتي بحياتك بنت ونجحت بهيدا الدومين؟ شوفي كل اللي موجودين هلا في بنت ليه عم تعذبي حالك؟ ولقسم كبير من البنات بحب شارك هاي القصة كانت I always heard this وهيدا على راسك مش حتوصلي مطرح. With this scarf on your head you're not reaching places. You cannot stay with all your beliefs and make it in this world. You're gonna have to let go. Loosen up with your ambitions. You're too ambitious for a girl. Those are the sentences we used to hear. Well, today, from where I am now, a digital consultant at McKinsey & Co., a company that's been there in consultancy for 90 years. On Glassdoor, McKinsey is the most difficult company to get into. A Google developer expert for the biggest technology company in the world, Google. I say to all of those people, hi from where I am now. And I say to all of you, for me, it was my scarf. For you, it could be something else. It could be another challenge. It could be what you wear, your attitude, or whatever it is that women biases are today. Do not let go of anything you consider a principle just because you want to reach places. You don't have to. You can be whoever you want to be, whoever you believe in, and make it anywhere in the world. And for the places that you will not be able to make it, believe me, you don't want to be there. I don't want to work with the people who were racist enough to decline my job just because I'm a woman. I don't want to be in the company where they called me and they said, my name is Rayan, right? Rayan for most of you is a guy name. So they used to call him like, can I talk with Rayan? And I'm like, this is Rayan. No, I want Rayan, the programmer. I'm a girl, but I'm a programmer. And they were like, no, never mind, we wanted a guy. And they hang up on me. Well, you don't want to work with those people. You don't want to work with people with biases. You want to work with a place where you can be who you are and celebrate that. Last year, we had 8 Google developer experts in the Middle East and North Africa. 8 were men. Every event I was in was full of men. And then I got nominated by someone from Google, and they say, we saw you talking, and we think you fit in this program. I applied, and I used to not share this because it's very emotional for me. I applied, and the first time I did the interview, I got rejected. I passed my community interview. When I reached the technical interview, my interviewer said, "You don't fit." But Google has a very strict rules. So they say, go ahead, those are the comments, work for 6 months on those comments, and come back again, and we will apply for you again. My first reaction was, I'm never applying again. No one likes failure. No one likes to be rejected. And when I applied, when I was nominated, I was so excited. I got nominated. I never thought I'm going to be rejected until I actually was. And my first reaction was, I called the regional lead and I said, I'm sorry, I'm not fit for this program. This is what the interviewer said to me. I'm never applying again. And he said, it's okay. Now you're upset. Let's talk tomorrow. He called again and he said, you are fit for this program. You lack few knowledge in this area and that area. Let's work on that. This is what you need to work on. This is what you need to build. Let's have the interview in 2 months. In 2 months, I was so scared, I kept delaying the interview. Every time they tried to set up an interview, I say no. I'm busy on that day. I'm busy on that day. And I kept rescheduling until I actually did it. I did the interview and I had no idea if I passed or not. But what I know, he didn't say you don't fit. 1 week later, I received the email to say, congratulations, you became the GDE. And then we have a female Google developer expert in the Middle East and North Africa. And I was so proud of that I actually left my job. I left my job and I said, I'm going to dedicate 3 to 4 months going around the Middle East and North Africa, talking at conferences, because those conferences never had a woman talking in them. So I'm going to go and talk to every conference I can, just to show the women out there that, yeah, it is possible. I'm very, very proud today to say, years when Google was doing events, they had those 8 Google developer experts who were male. Every time they go into a conference, no one ever nominated a woman. Not a single woman came to the regional leads and said, I think I fit for this program. Can you nominate me? It never happened. After we started roaming the MENA region and having one of the speakers a female, every single event today, minimum 3, 5 women sends emails saying, I think I fit to this program. Why? Because they didn't have an example before. And this is the difference. We see only men and we say, it probably is not a place for us. But when they saw someone like them, they don't see any obstacles anymore, and they want to be that thing. And I want you to be that example for every person around you. In addition, Women Tech Maker can help you all a lot. Ladies and gents. I'll start with the ladies. What is the program? What does it give you? It gives you 3 pillars of help. 1, resources. You're going to get access. If you go to womentechmakers.com, apply for the membership, which is just 1 form you fill, you're going to start receiving resources. The latest in Android, latest in web training. 2, you're going to get a lot of opportunities. Invitation to conferences, just because you are part of Women Tech Makers. With sponsor, with support. 3, network. You're going to be part of a Slack group with all experts from around the world, from Google, from Facebook, from all of those companies who are part of Women Tech Makers. And you can chat with them, you can talk to them, ask them whatever you want. Here, I usually got asked from the audience, what about the men? Well, you guys, if you are a supporter of Women in Tech, you can also apply to this program just by filling this form, and you will have access to those resources. So I invite every one of you to go to womentechmakers.com and apply to the membership. So back to our topic. Think business, sketch like a designer, and code like a geek. I'm a software engineer for over 10 years. Lately, I took a job at McKinsey as a digital consultant. No, I didn't become a business person. I'm still one of you. I'm still a geek. I'm still a programmer. But I work as a digital consultant. Why I decide to give this talk, which is Think Business, Sketch Like a Designer, and Code Like a Geek? Because of this picture. Who have seen this before? Probably not everyone have seen this picture before, but I promise you, every single one of you have lived this picture before. My dear students, you go and you grab a project for your senior, for your web development course, and you start thinking about the project, implementing the project. And then you go and you show your doctor your first draft. She will say, can you do feature 1, 2, 3? You will go home, work on feature 1, 2, 3, go back after 1 week. This doctor, she probably saw over 20 projects during that week, 50 projects. Do you think she will remember exactly what you talked about? So you will come back, and she will say, why did you do 1, 2, 3? I like better 2, 3, 4. And you're like, okay. And you go back in a dark room with your coffee and your coding, and you do 2, 3, 4. Next week, you come back. And the doctor will say, why 2, 3, 4? I want 1, 2, 3. What the hell? I just did that, and you asked me to change it, and I changed it, and now you're asking me to change again. And she will say, no, I don't remember. Or, I didn't know it will look like that. Change it back. You are still a student in university. What's the cost? You lost 1 week of work. Imagine we are a huge company working on a product. We went on a release. We found out, oh no, this is not what we want. We lost thousands of dollars. Imagine I'm a programmer in a company and I work for a month. I go back to the business person and the business person is like, nope, that's not what I had in mind. Go do it again. So the customer will come and will explain what they think they want this way. Because we always think we know what we want until we are actually questioned. The project lead will understand it this way. We live in a global world, right? You probably are not talking with a person who is from the same culture, doesn't speak the same language. We both are speaking a foreign language. And even if we are from the same city talking the same accent, we're probably going to face a lot of misunderstanding. The analyst will design it this way, and the programmer wrote it this way. Beta testing, and the business, again, will file the first bill. That's that big. Documentation, who has time for that? أنا درست programmer to write code, not to write literature. I'm not going to do it. I only write code. I don't write documentation. True? Wrong. Documentation is what will save you. Operations. Who is here in IT, sysadmin, dev operations? Our lovely friends who forget half of our libraries. We go live and everything crashes. And then another bill arrives to the customer that was bigger than the first one. Support? Well, I deliver my app, I close my phone number, I change my home address, I disappear from the planet. That's the way it is, right? I don't want to hear support. I don't want to hear nagging of the customer. Marketing, blurry advertisement. But eventually, what the client actually wanted was a simple swing. From picture 1 to the last picture, we lost a lot of resources, energy, money, and time. Time is the most important. Why? Because today the competitors are just around the corner. If we skip the launch by a few days, we might not be the first in the market. We might lose our advantage value, right? So how do we actually avoid all of this? I worked in so many different jobs. I was a student, I worked as a freelancer, small companies, startups, big companies, and I noticed that this pain is the same across all of those. The pain is actually real. And when we go live, who do you think get the blame? The business people? The designer? Whose fault was it? Who's the one to blame in this cycle? The client. That's new. No one ever said the client. Usually, it's the programmer. This is what they say. The programmer. Because the designers will say, I draw it nicely. I did my job. The business people usually are smooth talkers. And they know how to get themselves out of it. And they were like, we know how, we talked with the client. We did our job right. It's the programmers who did it wrong. It keeps on crashing. Is it really the fault of the programmer? Definitely not. So let's see how we can, as a programmer, break this cycle and find a solution. We break this cycle by thinking business, sketching like a designer, and coding like a geek. And you will say, a programmer cannot think business, a programmer cannot be a designer, and the designers will hate me when I say a programmer will design. Well, let me tell you, every single one of you, even you the photographers, you are designers. You design what you have. You design a database, they design a video, they design screens. Whoever built this building designed a building. Every single one of us is a designer, not a graphic designer, but as a designer. So let's see how we're gonna break this loop and not be the one who gets blamed all the time. First thing first, think business. Let's take off the hat of the programmer and put the hat of the business person. We are now business people. The first step is we're gonna define the goal. What is the goal? What are we trying to do? So let's take an example, Uber or Kareem. For the sake of this exercise, we're gonna take Uber or Kareem as an example and go on and try to implement this type of thinking on their idea. What is the goal of Uber? Taxi. Driver. All of this are things that actually Uber provides, but those are not the core of their business. This is not the goal. Do you know what's the goal of Google? Search, knowledge, facilitate. Is your life. The actual goal of Google is making data accessible, easily accessible, and giving people access to the data they need at the time they need. Sounds correct, right? It's abstract enough to cover everything Google does. So let's think the same way for Uber. Yeah, Uber makes our life easy, it serves the environment, it's eco-friendly, it's safe, but this is not the actual goal. The goal is, I want to reach from A to B, right? Fastest way, cheapest way, most secure way. Everything else are features. Everything else are services. This is our main goal. We take a huge paper and we write this goal and we put it in the room of the team. Even if you're working on a project for your senior studies, and you have this project and you're so excited about, grab a big paper, write your goal, and put it in your room. Every day look at it, so you never divert from the actual goal. And put your heart into that project. You know that Google was a senior project in a university. Facebook was a project at university. This project could be your next company. It could be the next job for you. Don't look at it as just another project that I'm putting in a folder named Senior Project 12345_final. This is not it. This could be your next company. Think about it this way. Think about it as a business. And do you know GitHub? Anyone? Good. For the people who don't know GitHub, don't listen to my lecture. Just open GitHub and create an account now. This is how important GitHub is. Everything should be on GitHub. And people tell me, but it's a simple project. Yeah, put it on GitHub. But people will steal my code. Do you realize that Firebase, do you realize that TensorFlow are on GitHub? Who's looking at your project? People are looking at your project. Good for you. It's a job opportunity. People are taking your project, using it, amending it. Very good for you. You go, you put that on your resume, and you say, I have an experience. I have a GitHub project that this many people used. If you're gonna take one thing out of this entire day, please let it be GitHub. Put everything on it. When you go and apply for a job, you're gonna get stuck in the loop. I don't have experience. I need experience to get experience, right? GitHub will break that loop for you. Just put it on GitHub and say, this is how much I work, because this is how they know that you actually coded something. Did you hear that Facebook and Google doesn't require an actual certificate university diploma to hire people anymore? Usually people come to me and they are so excited about this news. Did you hear, Ryan? We don't need to be at university. Google and Facebook don't require diploma anymore. And I ask a simple question. How many projects do you have on GitHub? 0. What is GitHub? How many contributions do you have on Stack Overflow? What? Contribute on Stack Overflow? I only copy from Stack Overflow. I never write anything on Stack Overflow. Stack Overflow is for me to read. And I'm like, okay, so no diploma, no GitHub profile, no Stack Overflow. When you apply, how are you going to prove to any company that you know anything at all? And they look at me and I was like, what are you talking about? They don't need diploma anymore. Yeah, but. So this is the thing. Yeah, they don't require diploma because they are hiring the people who've been working so hard, putting everything on GitHub, proving how good they are, contributing in open source platforms, and proving their knowledge. This is the kind of people they're gonna hire. Not someone who's just taking this as an excuse to drop out of college. So again, GitHub and Stack Overflow. Let's go back to thinking as a business person. So we set up the goal, tamam? Now, not because it's a Google event, but our best friend Google. Go ahead and Google it. Do you think that the problem you are trying to solve, there's not a single person around the world who tried to solve this for you, before you? Probably someone else has thought about it. Someone else has even implemented a solution. Does that mean you have to stop working on your idea? Let's take Uber again and Kareem. When Kareem decided to say, I'm gonna build a platform to make people reach from A to B, that's the cheapest, fastest, more secured way. And they went and I searched. Did they found that they are the first to think about that? No, they actually found Uber, who is very well established. And here we have 3 solutions. One, we say, Uber is already there. خلينا نسكر هالصنعة ونروح على البيت. True? It's an excuse, a valid excuse to say, I'm not gonna do it. 2, I would say, there's Uber. Let me just pay some money, bring Uber into the country, and sit and make money at home. Amazing idea, right? But there's another way of thinking, which is, yeah, Uber exists in the US, but why do I still have this need? Why am I still thinking about it? Why am I still trying to find a solution? It means that Uber doesn't actually fulfill my need, doesn't actually fulfill Rayan's need in Lebanon. They must have something missing, right? Let's try to figure out why they didn't work in here. Who can tell me what was what we call the added value for Kareem that made them able to be that successful in this region? Motorcycle just got introduced. Cash payment. You attended my session before? Yeah, you did. So, today, in this region, how many people have an online payment card? Like, you are the tech-savvy people, and one person hold his hand up. Okay? Let's think broader. How many people have a bank account and trust enough to have an online card to link it to their bank account and use it on a platform. The percentage is getting smaller, 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 right? And this is why Uber wasn't able to get into this market, because they required an actual online payment. Kareem said, well, that's the missing part. Let me do that. And they started with something called the wallet and cash payments. And they are today where they are. This is the right way of thinking. Let me figure out what the existing solution have missing, add this as my added value, and go to the market with it. After you Google it, you started defining your users. Who will use this? People going to universities, people going to their jobs, people sending their kids to schools, etc. And then you take one of those users and you decide, this is my perfect user. And we call that our persona, our ideal model user. And we start building the image of that person. Let me tell you a story. Who's here from LIU Tripoli? Okay, you probably know the guy, so. Adam is just graduating from the LIU. He has a very high GPA, he's very excited, he's the first at his class. He's so sure that once he graduates, he's gonna land a great job and start developing websites. He graduated, built his resume, applied for 30, 40 companies. 1 month later, not a single call. 2 months later, not a single call. 3 months later, nothing. He tried to do some freelancing, ended up in a huge fight with his client. So he was like, I'm not doing that. So he said, I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna go work in a burger restaurant. And I'm gonna forget all about programming. I made a bad decision. I lost 3 years of my life on this major, and there's no jobs. How do you feel? Exactly. That's the goal. No, he literally worked at a burger place. That's not his real name. At the burger place, Adam had a regular customer. This girl almost came every day with a lot of things and laptops and working and instead of eating her burger and leaving directly, she used to stay for 2 hours working on her laptop. So after so many times, he asked her what she does, and he noticed some techie stickers on her laptop. So she said, well, I'm working on my startup. I'm trying to actually give people who graduate from college the right experience they need in order to enter the market. And he was like, interesting. In which field is that? So she was like, oh, I'm a programmer, I'm a software engineer, and I'm doing this boot camp for programmers to be able to enter the market. So he told her his story. What did you feel when I said what happened to Adam? You went from normal stage to very low stage, depressed. When I said Adam, when I told you exactly in which university he is, when I told you his GPA, you started drawing Adam in your mind, right? You created this connection, this relation with this persona. Now Adam is your friend. Now Adam is you. Now you are afraid this is going to happen to me when I graduate, right? And then Adam met this woman, and he knew about this program called Bamboo Geeks, where he can apply to get the experience, and they promise to get you a job at the end. And he was like, okay. She invited him to apply. She even offered him a ride to go with her to the course. Adam, with another 11 people, decided to take this boot camp. 2 months later, Adam graduated with 2 applications in the store. During the program, he even offered one of his applications to a radio station that started using that app and started paying him money for more features. 1 week after he finished, he got a call from the first company. He got hired immediately with a way better salary. Adam left the burger restaurant, and he's now only a customer. Few months later, Adam called in and said, I want all the people who took this course with me to come apply because we want the people who graduated from this program. He moved from being a waiter in a restaurant to referring all his friends to a job who are still now working at this company, and he's evolving. What do you feel now? Happy. This is exactly what you need to do. You move from a normal stage, you propose the problem. Not only the problem, you make it personal enough using your persona. That makes the people feel with you, go down with you. And then you say, this is the solution. And you show how this solution moved this person from a very bad place to a very good place. And you move in emotion with them. Who's interested in startups, in competitions, in hackathons? This is how you pitch. This is how you're gonna gain those judges in front of you. This is how they're gonna remember your pitch among any other pitch. 2000, I don't remember, I guess 2008, 2009, the first ever Yalla startup that happened in Lebanon. This is how I met Ahmad, who became my co-founder now in GGG. We pitched the idea. We didn't win anything. We were in top 5. But we were the only team who got interviewed by all the media. Why? Because they felt something. And this is how you win. So after you actually define your users, create this persona to feel with your user, you start listing the features. How are you going to solve their problem? And then you actually do prioritization. This is what we call the design thinking process. You probably heard a lot of this word lately. But what does it actually mean? It means that we need to actually have ideas coming not only from the designers or from the business or from the client, no, from everyone. So we start with ideating, we define the problem like we did, and then we ideate even more. We empathize with our customers. If I don't know the customer, if I'm developing to someone who's far, far away, who I know nothing about, I will never be able to serve them best. And then we do prototyping. We did this. And then we do prototyping. And this is how it will look. This is how your room will look. We bring people and say, this is our problem, this is our goal. Every one of you, we bring the programmers, I bring the designer, the client, the business, the marketing. And we say, sit on one table. Every single one of you need to come up with 25 ideas of features. Programmers will say, are you trying to kill us? Like, why are you bringing more work to us? We want less ideas, not more, right? That's not the way it is. Every single person will come up with 25 ideas. A total of, if we are 5 at the table, a total of 125. And then we're gonna prioritize all of those features. After we have over 100 ideas, the client will be the happiest person on the table because their product will do all of that. The programmer will be the saddest person on the table. The designer is like, huh? And then I'm gonna say, you see those 125? They are so nice, but I need only 5. What are the 5 things that, if they don't exist, the product doesn't exist? And we only start with 5. Who knew Facebook back in 2007? It shows a lot about our age, people. Well, it was, do you remember how it looked? It was just a wall. We don't even have a proper profile. You cannot upload more than a single picture at a time. Colors, icons, very rough edges. And then they launched. They got the customer, and they started looking at the customer, how they are using this platform. And like, I can see that the users are uploading a lot of pictures that are mostly related. Let's create an album feature. If back in 2007, Facebook said, I'm not launching my product until I am able to do face recognition. If I add a picture with Ahmad in it, it will suggest to tag Ahmad. I'm not launching Facebook until I be able to do checking in safe in case of crisis. I'm not launching Facebook before machine learning to do people you may know without all the feature it had now. Do you think you will know what Facebook is today? Who knows MySpace? Do you still use MySpace? High Five? Yahoo? MIRC? Do you still use any of that? They died. If you go to the Google office in the middle of Mountain View, you're going to find in the middle of their campus a huge dinosaur made of metal. I went there probably 3 times. I never wondered why this dinosaur is there. I look at him and I'm like, it's so weird that they have a dinosaur. This is so random. Okay? Until I saw a post that says, we were like checking out things about the campus. And they say, before Google was there was a huge company, like now I don't even remember the name, which tells you a lot, that used to have the campus of Google. And they were that big. But they went out of business, and Google bought the campuses, and they expanded even more. So they decided they're going to put this sculpture of a dinosaur to remind them every day that if they stop innovating, they're going to become like dinosaurs, and they're going to be extinct. So this is a reminder that we have to keep innovating. And this is what always remind them that no matter how big we are today, we could be like the people who were before us at the same place. So we pick only 5, and we start small. Here, the developers are back happy, the client is in shock, and the designers are happy as well. We start to explain to the client, we're going to reach the market first, we're going to start learning from our mistakes, and we're going to have something concrete. Here, we remove our business hat, and we start putting our designer's hat. This is how all my sketchbooks look like. I actually draw every single screen. And we say, when we first open the app, what will happen? What do I see? Android developers, what do I see? Splash screen, right. Loader, I actually draw that. And then I'll draw the sign-in page, sign-up page. And I'll draw all of those pages feature by feature. I take my first feature and I start drawing it. I'll teach you a little trick. You draw the first picture, the first screen. You draw the second. The second is the sign-in page, okay? What's the number? It's screen 2, right? It has text box for username, text box for password, a button to say login, a button for forget password, link, a button for sign up. Agreed? I start to say, how many clickable items do I have? 3. Sign in, forget password, sign up. I start numbering those. And I say, sign in is numbered 1. Sign up, I number it 2. Forget password is numbered 3. And then I'll say, when I click on sign in, where do I go? Home page. I draw the home page. When I click on sign up, where do I go? Sign up page. I also draw it. But now, when I click on forget password, I go to the forget password page. But now, what do I give numbers for those 3 new pages? Normally, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. What was the number of the button inside the screen 2? 1. Sign in. I will name it now 2.1. It's the first button in the second screen. It will be 2.1. Sign up will be 2.2. Forget password will be 2.3. And the leading page will be named exactly the same way. Since the home page is coming from the button 2.1, I will number it 2.1. And then so on and forth. I go and I number inside, and then a little advice for the Android developers, for the mobile developers in general. If you find that this number is becoming more than 5 digits on a row, there's something wrong. You need to sit with your designer and say, this feature is too hidden. Statistics say, if the user have to go more than 3 pages to reach a feature, they will probably never use it. And this is how you build a better user experience, and this is how you serve your customers better. After we sketch, it looks nice, but it's not cool enough, right? And this is where I say, this is the second advice I give you today. Envision. Envision, envision. It exactly does what it says. You see those sketches on my notebook? It will turn them alive. Like that. We will take those sketches, put them inside Envision, and we will say that this button linked to this page. So you will actually have screens where you can click on them, and it will take you from one page to another. It would look like an actual app, but it's only pictures. Now I'm using graph images I draw. Can you imagine if you use your actual graphic designer screens here? How does it look like? It will look like a ready app. We take this prototype, we go to the people who might use our app. We give it to them and say, can you try this and give us your opinion? We give it to the client and say, this is how it will look before we started doing any development. Remember the first picture? Instead of waiting to actually launch to show the client, no, now we are showing them all right from the beginning. And this is how we validate the idea. This is how we test the idea with the customer. We take notes, we go back, we change the sketches. Instead of going to the market, seeing what the customers are feeling about it, going back and developing back. Snapchat, for example. They changed the UI for some reason, I have no idea what was that, and everyone went berserk on them. No one liked it. People started leaving Snapchat because of that, right? And they had to eventually roll out and change back because they had to adapt according to their customers. If they did a good customer research and they went and they did a good analysis, they would have realized that the customer will not like that. And they would have saved a lot of bad publicity, a lot of money, a lot of time. And finally, testing. Usually when you have an idea or you have a project, what's the first thing you do as a programmer? Open the laptop, create a new project on Android Studio. Eclipse, whatever it is for you guys. Do you see how long this session was? This is when you start coding. After you actually have the Envision link that shows you how the app will look like, you never start. Because when you get this Envision link, you will know this field in the database will be a dynamic field, this field will be a static field. The maximum number of characters will be this long here and that long there. And this is how you start to build your database, you start to build the design, the architecture of your product, and this is when you start to actually geek. Thank you very much. This is with I wrap.